The whole place feels like a hidden country built in secret. The scale is shocking. How do you even build 60 giant structure like this in the middle of nowhere? Row of cement block closing in one center like teeth. And then the walls were so high they make you dizzy to look at. 30 feet of smooth concrete topping the jack glass shape, glittering like broken bottles stuck on into frosting. You cannot rip them. You cannot clamp them. There is nowhere for you to attach your hand and feet so you can clamp. Even if you did, they are on other fence just as tall behind it. And after that, wilderness, mile of the wood, maybe cliff, maybe nothing. Run the wrong way and you will circle back to where you started. And of course, even if you try, there are guards everywhere, lining the perimeter, holding the wooden bat like the shepherd ready to hide the sheep or strike them. Every person in the yard wearing the same thing, a blue tracksuit, almost like a cheap Adidas knockoff. It's the same uniform that Squid Game players wear. Their hair are shaved, bald, but not with care. Just scalp covered in scar, patches left uneven, like someone hatched at them with dew clipper. Like they just pull the hair and use the clipper to cut it randomly, like I cut my dog hair. Behind them, the buildings, they just come from crumble with bunker beds stuck like shell, rows after row, one body sweep on top of another. One man just blinks, staring at the scene around him and whisper, "What the hell is this place?" The crowd is straight. There is no pattern. Some are like little kids, 4 or 5 years old. Some are teenagers. Other are parents, adult, even elderly. All of the same uniform, all marked, not by name, but by number on their chests. And then chaos just erupts, shouting somewhere. Everyone whips around to see what the guards are yelling at. And there he is, a man in a blue tracksuit, crumbling up one of the buildings. He climbed fast, reached the roof, and then he just lifts. He hit the head first. One person standing nearby say, "I didn't even know a head could sound like that. It just split open so loud that the school just exploded." And here's the part that really show where we are. A guard walked over, calm as if he's just wiping some lip. He scooped up the brain, the bone, the blood, cleaned it up, and everything continued. No screaming, no crying, nothing. Because deep down, every person in blue know it could be them next. And does this sound familiar, like the opening scene of Netflix Squid Game? Except this is not a show. This is real. This is rather home. Now, before we keep going, a warning. Today's case talk about things that are very heavy. Force of internment, human trafficking, torture, sexual assault. At any point, it feels like too much for you, please step away, take a break, and come back later. Or find another lighter case. This case is dark and I believe is necessary to know about, especially now with the Olympics set in Los Angeles in 2028. And because what you're about to hear is tied directly to the Olympic. And if history repeats itself, these patterns should show up anywhere. Trump is cleaning up the street of America right now. Am I right? The cruelty of hiding away the undesirable people before an international event. That pattern seems to repeat itself. The silver lining fact is that when this happened, South Korea in the 1980s was not a democracy country. It was under a military dictator. Things have changed a lot since then, but corruption didn't just vanish overnight. Even in the modern time, presidents have been impeached, scandal, and expelled. I have utmost respect to all current leaders in the world because you must be extremely smart to step into that kind of power. I just hope that the exact same model of camp do not appear and that both the goal and the means to get there can be honorable. The one last thing. English is not my first language, so good luck with understanding me. And with all that declaration, let's get started. Let's start with what most people know, Squid Game. It's one of Netflix's biggest hits ever. The setup is simple. A man in a suit approach people that is drowning in death and people with no option left. He offered them a way out, a chance, play a few games, some childhood game, the kind that you grow up with. If you win, you walk away with millions. If you lose your life. And that's the catch. In the first season, most of the shock come from that discovery. People come together, they form bond, they backstab each other, they watch friends die. And every player realize the same thing. If you don't die, then I do. And hanging over it all are the VIP, the rich faceless client who watch the suffering for entertainment, bet against it. Anyway, they were portrayed to be really, really disgusting people. Reality TV is not bloody enough for them, so they want life or death kind of stake. By the end of season one, the main character wins and he survives, he get the prize money, but the trauma is too heavy. The cast feel like blood money. He doesn't want it, and he wants to know why the organization like this appear, who behind all of this, and why do these games exist at all? Is there a hidden meaning behind everything? And season two, which is a huge disappointment in my opinion, build on the revenge of the main character to find out why and who behind everything. And season two start with Brett. Episode one is literally called Bread and Lottery. So we see a suit man again, the recruiter with perfect hair and perfect smile, and his smile is sharp enough to cut the class. And there's so many memes about him. Anyway, this time he's not in a subway station, but he in a park looking for people without home, people sleeping on benches. He crouched down next to them and say, "You seem struggling. You live a life with no future. I have a gift for you today." Then he hold out both of his hands, and in one hand is bread, fresh, soft, and wrap it in. It's a good burger. I don't know what it is. And in the other hand, it's a lottery ticket. You may only choose one. Most people hesitate. The bread look tempting. They're hungry. They're on the street. But in the end, almost everyone choose the lottery ticket. They gamble, they hope, and they lost. The suit man even give them a coin to crash it. And when they lose, he just smile, take his coin back, and move on to the next person. At the end, he have two full bags of bread, and he take it all and dump it on the ground and stomp on it. His polished, lofty crust, each piece, and the bread just burst out of the plastic wrap in front of all of these poor, hungry people. He looked at the crowd and shouted at them, "I didn't throw this bread away. You did." And then he straightened his tie, smoothed his jacket, and walked away calmly smiling, like he just had proven to God the point of humanity, leaving behind the bread with a lot of broken people. It all started with bread in the show, and in real life, in South Korea, it also started with bread. In 1980s, South Korea, a 14 years old boy named Joy is walking home from school when a large hand grabbed his shoulder and yanked him into an alley. A man is standing there, middle-aged, smoking a cigarette. His eye narrow on Joy backpack. "Did you steal this bread?" He ripped open the bag and finded a small piece of bread, but it's just left over from lunch from school. Joy stammered, "I didn't steal it. It was from school." The man didn't believe him. He kept dragging on his cigarette, blowing smoke straight into the kid's face, lighting another, blowing again, over and over. Each puff felt like an interrogation in a dark room with a straight light on your face. He cornered Joy, stripped him naked right there in the alley. Then he took his lighter and hold it under Joy's private part. The flame is so close to burn the skin. Admit that you stole it. Joy begged, "Please, I just want to go home. I didn't steal anything." The man repeated the question like a broken record. "Where did you steal it from? Which store?" Finally, Joy break. Because what else can you do when somebody is burning your thing? He lied. Okay, I stole it from the market ahead." The man just smiled. "Hey, you should have told the truth earlier." Joy pulled on his clothes, hoping this nightmare is over, but the man stepped away to make a call. Moments later, a white van appeared stop in the alley. It's the kind of truck that you use to deliver meat with seal, no window, cold inside. The back door just slide open and Joy is thrown into the van. Darknet, pitch black, no window, no crack light, not even to see the driver, who's the driver is. At first, Joy think that he was alone, but then when his eyes slowly open and adjust to the darkness, he see them. floating marble in the darkness, dozens of them, children eyes, looking at him from every corner. At least a dozen kids were packed inside of that van with him in silence, staring like cat abandoned in a box. The van just rattled and rolled uphill. Branches scratched against the metal. Joy can feel the slope in his stomach. 30 minutes, then 40. It feels endless. Finally, the truck slammed to a stop. The back door burst open. Flashlight blind them. Guards stand there holding massive wood club, primitive, brutal, like tree branch that turn into a random badge. Get out now. One by one, the children stumble out of the van, shield their eyes from the beam, and when they look up, they realize they are in the middle of the wood, thick and dense in every direction. But right here, out of nowhere, is something else entirely, a compound. Row of concrete buildings, identical in range, stretching in a circle, 60 in total. In the middle, an open sandy yard, flat like a stadium floor. It feels like an arena dropped into the middle of the forest. Instead of seat, they are barrack. Instead of cheering crowd, they are guard with bat. This is brother home. The first thing they do when the kids arrive, they cut their hair. Now, you think that shaving a head is quick, but grab a pair of clippers, zip and clean and even. That's not what happened here. Here is done with a butcher walking with a dual knife. Random chunk that just hack off the head. Long string like dangling next to ball badges. It's not about hygiene. It's not about making the person become neatness. It's about humiliation. The kid look like just scarecrow dropped by lightning now, like their heads have been chewed by rats. One boy remember the sting of the clipper just too close to his scalp. The guard didn't care if they cut skin along with hair and the unevenness. That was the point. To strip away dignity, to make them feel less than human, to make them look like stray dog. After that, they lined up. The flashbulb pop one by one. Children stand stiff, holding a wooden blade under their chin. On it, just number. No name, no family name, no history, just a code stamp on their chest. The photo looked like mugshots, but worse, because a mugshot still had a name attached. But here it's just, from now on, you are this number and nothing else. It's the same way that Carol are tagged in a farm. A quick photo, a number burned into their identity, and just like that, their past just vanished. From that moment on, no one called them by their real name again, only number. The uniform is blue tracksuit, one of the daily wear. One for when it's being washed. And that's it. No socks, no layer, no extra. You get two sets. One set wear and the other you wash, dry it and change it. And the guard make it clear. If the zipper break, too bad. If it's winter and the wind cut through you, sorry, this is your new skin. Learn to live in it. Everyone in the yard looked the same. A sea of blue. Head shaved into chaos, number pinned on their chest, like puzzle pieces that don't fit, and forced into the same mold. Once they're dressed, they split up. The compound run like a military camp. Each building is called a platoon. Inside there are platoon leader, sub-room leaders, all of them are guards. Order box like gunshot. 24 platoon, lights out, door slam, massive padlock, lick into the place from the outside. Image being shot into a shipping container, locked in, no way out. That's what night is here. The first night, terrifying because the children lie awake, eyes glowing in the dark like frightened animal. They whisper question. Where are we? Why can't I go home? Why is nobody talking to me? No answer, just silent, because speaking risks being beaten up. At 5 a.m., a siren just wailed. The kid, the veteran, the kid that have been here longer just run up, stand up instantly, folding their blanket in precision sharp enough to cut. Corner so tight it looked like origami. The next arrival, they fumble, they and slow. Nobody tell them the rules. They just expected to copy what the other does. And if they can't, the guard just storm in, bat in hand, and the beatings begin. Then come the morning hygiene. The platoon matching 7 years old kid, 10 years old, even toddler, forced to keep time like soldier. If 1 4 hour breather, everyone pay the price. They fall into a building called the washroom, but it's not what you imagine. You get 3 seconds of water, and that 3 seconds of water, and that's it. A guard count out loud. 1, 2, 3. Then the faucet would snap close. 3 seconds to slash your face, 3 seconds to rise salt of your teeth, and then because toothpaste does not assist it, just salt on your gum with your finger. And if you hesitate, if you're even a second too slow, you're dragged to the corner, beaten until you curl into a fetus position. And everyone learn fast. If you try to have a new kid, if you speak up, you'll be the next one. One survivor say, violence always comes first. Word mean nothing. Even standing straight wasn't enough. You had to stand like a soldier, military perfection, or the beating would come. This was the new life. Blue suit, padlock, siren, 3 second water, and beating that never end. And after a few days, the guards call everyone to attention. They grunt and shout, who want to play a game? But these are not games that you see in Squid Game. Not the way that you can think of them. These are punishment dressed up as fun. Cruelty disguised as play. It's Squid Game in real life, except here there is no prize, there is no winner, only loser. The Hang River Bridge Game. 50 people are ordered to line up, shoulder to shoulder, facing forward. Then they're told to drop into push-up position. Then comes the trick. Every person have to lift their legs and rest them on the back of the person behind them. It's a human centipede made of 50 bodies. Now, if you ever done this with 2 or 3 people, maybe you could hold it for a couple of seconds. But 50 with the guard climbing and stumbling across on your back, like they're testing the strength of the bridge. That's why it's called the Hang River Bridge. A bridge made of human bodies. Hold it long enough, maybe you walk away with a couple of proofs. If you collapse, the guard just beat everyone. Stump until the bone crack. One survivor say, we have to use every ounce of strength just to keep balance. If the guard fail, we all pay. They beat us like collapsing scaffolding. It wasn't a game. It was a group punishment wrapped into the illusion of life. The Hiroshima game. The guard loved this one. They just screamed Hiroshima, and everyone had to climb to the top bunk, hook their legs over, and hang upside down like that. The rules is simple. Just don't fall, don't move, stay suspended with blood rushing to the face until you faint. New kid had the hardest time. Their face swelled red, tears streaming upward toward their hairline. And the guard make it worse. They walk around with bat and randomly smash someone's stomach while they dangle. No warning, no reason, just cruelty. One survivor say the worst part was not the pain. It was the waiting, staring at the crowd upside down, not knowing which stomach they hit next. The terror of not knowing was worse than the blow itself. And if you fainted, you don't just fall, you crash. Neck first onto the hard floor. Many never stood up again. Some were left disabled for life. The rice roll game. This one sounds harmless at first. They call it rice roll or blanket rolls. A child is laid flat on the blanket. The guard roll them up tight like a burrito. Then they will start kicking hard over and over like soccer player for World Cup, except that the ball is somebody's body. And if you don't curve up in time, if you don't shield your stomach and your face, you lose. And losing means rupture of your intestine, broken arm, broken skull. One survivor say, if you do clinch tight, you would come out with broken bone. We saw kids that bleed out inside those blankets. It's not a game. It's a meat grinder disguised as playtime. And the guard, they didn't just watch. They laugh and they joke. And as this was not torture, but it's some sort of sport. The cavalry game. Two kids are dragged into the center. Sometimes they are strangers, sometimes they're brothers. It doesn't matter. The rule is simple. Fight. No tapping out, no stopping when you're tired. The game only ends when one child is broken enough for them to say that it's okay. No shattered teeth, knocked out face, cave in. The guards circle like gambler at the dogfight. They cheers when blood spill. They don't step in to stop it. And they step in to make sure that it gets worse. One survivor say it wasn't a game, it was a battlefield, a war zone for no reason at all. They just bet on it. The stress positions. The guard had a whole menu of these. Torture dressed up as yoga. The first one. Bend at the waist until your forehead touched the ground, while your feet stay flat. A human upside down V. Now hold it, not for a minute, not for 5 minutes, but for an hour. If you twitch, if your balance break, a guard will stomp on your back. Another version, knees on the rock, forehead on the floor, hands tied behind your back. If you shake even slightly, a guard would slam your head deeper into the ground. And the worst one they call is the red pepper powder. Instead of your forehead, your nose is shoved into the dirt. You cannot breathe. Blood would spill instantly. Your face burned like chili rub raw into your skin. One survivor say, it was not just pain, it was humiliation. They reduced us to insect, crushed into the ground. On the motor vehicle game, this one was twisted in its own way. A guard would stand in front of you and bark command like traffic cop. Left indicator, and before you can react, he's whacked you. A wooden bat was slammed onto your left eyes. Right indicator and whacked into your right. It was not a game. It was just a script of randomness, meaningless bidding. The salt stick. Sometimes the guard didn't even bother with creativity. They just soak wooden bat in salt water, then beat the sole of your feet, your calf, your back. The salt burned its way into the open wound. One survivor describes like this. The first strike make your knees would buckle. After that, you stop feeling anything. Your body just shut down. Another say, a guard hit me so hard that the two front teeth just snapped. Then they tie a string to the rest and yank every last one out. To this day, I don't have teeth. If daytime were torture dressed as game, what about nighttime? Nighttime was when the shadow come alive. When the light went out, the silence never lasted long. The scream would cut through the dark night like a knife. Boys, girls, adults, dragged from their bunk. Some returned broken, crawling. Others never returned at all. One survivor remember, the pain left me crawling back to bed on my hands and knees. Another say at 15, every night for years, I was pulled away. I don't know how I lived through it. The guard would walk through the room as if he were picking fruit. A hand would reach out, a blanket would be torn away, and someone would vanish into the dark. They wasn't just stripped of clothes. They were stripped of dignity, of safety. What happened in those rooms can't even be put into words. It was the kind of violence that crushed the soul more than the body. Joy, the boy that accused of stealing bread, later recalled one night when a guard washed him in freezing water, then ordered him to lie still. What followed left him just bleeding and shattered. And the worst part is become routine, night after night, like clockwork. But nothing broke him more than the day that he spotted his older brother in the cafeteria. His brother had been kidnapped too. Joy still just fell silently as he watched him struggle to survive the same torment. Hence, the survivor who later wrote The Surviving Child was only 14 when a guard called him over. The man stood there and asked Han a question no child should ever hear. Han didn't understand, but his dialect, the slang, sound like the word was slipper. Panicking, Han grabbed the guard's slipper and slapped them together, thinking it would please him. The guard thought he was mocking him. Rage just exploded. He beat Han, spat on him, and forced him into something Han later described as the moment I stopped breathing and the moment I stopped being a human. He remembered the pain was beyond word. All I could think was, I will kill this man someday. But for now, all I had to do was endure. There was even a so-called psychiatric ward in the compound. It sounded like hell, but it was another cage. Anyone who resisted, anyone who refused to be broken was sent there, drugged until they were shadow of themselves, beaten into silence. One survivor, only 10 at the time. Remember, if a woman vomit, the guard would drag her away. Back then, I didn't understand, but now I know. They were forcing things to end before life could begin. Another survival king was paralyzed after the guard tied him up and smashed his head into the concrete. When he woke up, his left arm and legs were dead weight. Instead of treatment, he was thrown into the psychiatric ward, labeled as insane. There, pills were forced down his throat, and water would pour over his face until that he choked. He said, "They made me into a patient, not because I was sick, but because they had broken me. Night was not for rest. Night was for shattering." A hand would put it. I come in as a person, I left as something less. At Brother Home, you didn't learn how to live. You learned how to shrink, how to beg, how to avoid the stick. It was like being pushed back into the age where humans were treated like animals. And food at Brother Homes was never enough. Meals were thin, watery, gone before they even touched your rib. Survivors say that hunger was not just a feeling, it was a second skin. It clung to you, controlled you. They were so desperate that pine needle became snack. Centipedes would chew like candy. Even dirt would lick just to trick the body into thinking it had eaten. One boy remember, we were so hungry, our stomach feel like drum, hollow, echoing. Hunger become louder than the beating. One day, a guard walked in holding something literally in his hand. He dangled it like a bait. Snake skin, he shouted. "If one of you eat this, there will be no punishment today." Everyone froze. Hunger just screamed at them, but fear kept their mouth shut. The snake king's skin was too much, too straight. Then one boy stepped forward, calm, steady. He asked, "If I eat it, would you really stop the game?" The guard nodded. The boy tilted his head back, stick the snake skin down his throat and swallow. And no one was surprised because if anyone was going to do it, it would be him. His nickname was not earned that day, the cannibal boy. It was earned earlier. One morning, while cleaning the bar crack, he spotted something tiny on the floor, a baby mouse. Its eye wasn't even open yet. Before anyone could react, he snapped it up, popped it into his mouth, and swallowed it whole. Everyone stared, horrified. The boy just whipped his lip and said, "It's good for the body." From that moment on, he was called cannibal. Not because he was a monster, not because he was cruel, but because hunger had eaten his humanity before he even ate that mouse. What kind of place drive a child to eat mice and snack skin just to survive? What kind of hunger is fear, disgust, even shame? At Brother Home, food was not just sacred. It was another weapon, another way to remind you that you are not human. The year is 1988. South Korea is about to host the Olympic Games in Seoul for the very first time. For the country, this was not just sport, it was a stage, a once in a lifetime chance to show the world, look at us, we make it, we're strong, we're modern, and we're worthy. It was more than pride, it was rivalry. Think of it like two families at war, the South Korea and the North Korea both want to look bigger, better, stronger. And now, the Olympic was South Korea's chance to invite the world to their house and prove that they outgrow their past. What do you do when your house is messy? When you got crack of wall and dirt on the floor, you clean, you polish, you hide the floors. And in the case, the floors are not buildings or roads. They were people. There was vagrants, homeless. The government had one mission: clear the street of the vagrants. Now, on paper, a vagrant could be someone without a home, drifting from place to place, begging to survive. Already, that definition is loaded and cruel. But behind closed door, the rule had changed. They stretched the word until it fit whoever they wanted to remove. Drink a beer outside a shop, vagrant. Fall asleep at the train station while waiting for a ride, homeless. Looking unshaved for a few days, homeless. Glares at the public TV in a subway, homeless. By those rules, half the city could have been arrested. And that was the point. The nets were cast Why? And only the powerless were kept. Because if they accidentally raps the mayor's son or the pastor's wife, trouble. But the farm kid with no connection, a teenager from a poor village, a boy walking home with a piece of bread, perfect target. The police officer were not just encouraged, they were rewarded. Each homeless that they catch would earn them a point, like prize at the carnival. And the more they brought in, the more they were praised. So they hunt, not criminals, not thieves, but just people who wouldn't be missed. People easy to erase. And where did they go? To the welfare center. Place that public believed were helping the poor, feeding them, housing them, rehabilitating them. But in reality, this center was prison, labor camp, torture arenas, one of the largest brother home in the middle of brother home, away from the bunk bed, away from the screen. There was an office, the director office, the man in charge, the real front man in real life Squid Game. Step inside and it didn't look like a welfare center. It looked like a bank. Behind the desk sat a massive vault. Not a piggy bank, not a safe, but a real vault, the kind that you see in the bank robbery movie. Years later, when the police finally forced it open, they found stack of cash. $8 million, mostly foreign currency. 8 million sitting there while children in blue tracksuit chewing the pine needle to survive. Where did the money come from? Not just the government. It's only part of it. Money was flow from powerful people, hidden channel, backroom deals, every homeless person. The police deliver come with funding. Everybody inside those cement walls will profit. They was like a tweeted factory. Input, children, men, women, output, suffering, death, and money. The director was less of a caretaker and more of a game master. Every blue tracksuit was a coin in his pocket. Every number piled a chest with another deposit in his vault. In Squid Game, the piggy bank hanging over the player filled with money for each death. At Brother Home, the vault filled for each life dragged in. No winner, no prize, just an endless jackpot bill from broken bodies. One survivor later said, "We was not treated like human, we were treated like animal. The only thing we could think was, don't get hit, don't die. Nothing else mattered." And what was Brother Home? Not a shelter, not a school. It was a business filled with human life. The world saw the Olympics, just hidden behind the cheering crowd, and the gold medal was this, a compound in the wood, the vault of blood money and thousands of stolen souls. So that's where part one. The intake, the game, the night, the hunger, and the money. And in part two, we will go deeper into the body, the saltwater torture, the escape attempt, and into the question, what happened when a place killed hundreds, maybe thousands, and no one outside noticed?